So let's go ahead and get started with Stretch with a Leader today. Welcome, everyone. We have Ryan Shatzer here with us today. Ryan, if you would tell us a little bit about your role with Intermountain and then proceed with your Be Well moment, and then you can pop it back to me for the stretch.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cami. So Ryan Shatzer, I'm the Vice President of People Services and Experience. So I have responsibility for, I tell my kids, helping keep our caregivers happy, healthy, and safe. So those are kind of the large buckets within human resources that I help lead out on. And I wanted to share, first, I wanted to share our new model. So we developed a new well-being model, and you can see that it's not going to feel completely unfamiliar with the Live Well pinwheel that we had previously. But you'll notice it has, we have a new name and a new brand, and so rather than Live Well, it's going to be Well. And you'll notice 9 kind of key elements on the outside. These elements are aligned to 3 buckets: personal well-being, work well-being, and community well-being, which we also label as me, we, and us. And you'll notice, that one thing I want to point out, just we intentionally made it a little blurry with the colors and the wordings. There's no like defined lines, because a lot of the well-being aspects in our life, they play out in many different areas. So for example, spiritual well-being plays out in our personal life, but also in our community. Financial well-being plays out in our personal life, but also obviously at work as well. So I just wanted to just flash up the new Be Well model, and I wanted to highlight the social well-being element that's part of our new Be Well model. I had the wonderful privilege of being a teaching assistant for Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad when I did my graduate work, and it was in the area of health psychology. And she produced some very profound and groundbreaking research on how relationships and social aspects of our life have a significant impact on health outcomes. One of my favorite studies that we shared and taught in our classes was the study of adult development at Harvard Medical School, or some people just called it the Grant study. This was a 75-year longitudinal study that's still ongoing, and studied 724 men, a cohort from Harvard graduates, also a cohort of inner city disadvantaged youth from Boston, and essentially followed their lives and long-term outcomes of some of their health behaviors, some of their lifestyle, looking at a lot of different aspects. And what the principal investigators really sought out to find were what were some of those predictors of long-term health and happiness. And although they did, find some typical health behaviors like, smoking and alcoholism had a negative impact on long-term health and happiness, the most surprising and the most impactful findings from the study was actually that the quality of our relationships had a significant impact on our long-term health and our happiness. And what they found was it's not necessarily the quantity of friends that we have, but the quality of relationships. Not just, the good times with friends, but really the assurance that, we can count on others when the going gets tough. These warm relationships improved resiliency. It protected the participants from mental and physical decline. And they were actually a lot of times better predictors of lifelong health and happiness than IQ, social class, genes, etc. So, for example, participants' level of satisfaction with their relationships at age 50 was a better predictor of physical health when they were 80 than cholesterol levels, just as an example. So I just wanted to hit home the importance of social well-being and how it impacts really all the other dimensions of health. And going along with the social well-being aspects, I had a New Year's resolution last year to rekindle some relationships in my life. So the picture on the left is my 9-year-old son Benson and myself. Went back to Oklahoma this past summer, and where I served a mission for my church. And we were able to visit with some dear people that I love that I have not been able to see in over 20 years. The picture on the right is my brother Nathan and Stephen. We've only gotten together a handful of times since we left the house. We live in different parts of the U.S. And what we did, we committed to have a weekend trip every other year with the brothers. And it started this last summer where we went to Arlington, Texas, where my brother Nathan lives, and we watched a Rangers-Angels game. And so it was great to be able to just spend 2 days catching up, and we all have a love of baseball, and we had a great time. This year, one of my resolutions is to have a weekly date night with my wife Meredith, and also to host a mini reunion with some key friends from high school that I haven't seen seen in person since I graduated quite a while ago. So those are some of my New Year's resolutions. And you know what? Relationships, they're a lifelong effort. They don't come easy. But yet they have a significant impact on our overall well-being. So my challenge to you is to maybe exchange some screen time with some people time. Maybe dedicate some time for date nights or whatever with your significant other. Maybe call a friend who you haven't connected with in a long time, or maybe extend forgiveness to a family member where there might be a strained relationship. This is Dr. George Valiant, who is one of the principal investigators for this Harvard study of adult development. And I'm going to leave you with this quote. He said, "Our lives become the sum of all whom we have loved. It's important not to waste anyone. One task of living out the last half of life is excavating and recovering all of those whom we loved in the first half." And that's my challenge to you today. Back over to you,
Thanks so
Cam.
much, Ryan. What a lovely way to start the year with a discussion about social connection. Thank you for sharing the pictures and what you've been doing. And I'll add that the book, The Good Life, is written by Dr. Waldinger. So if any of you would like to look into how to develop your social fitness, that's a great book for that as well. So thank you so much, Ryan.
And if you don't have time to read a whole book, just go to YouTube and watch the TED Talk. And it just, The Good Life, Harvard Development Study, should be the first one that pops up. And it's just very short and very
Thanks,
informative.
Ryan. Yeah, I think a YouTube talk is much more accessible than reading a book.
But read the book. The books are great too.
It's a great place to start. All right. Thank you so much, Ryan. I'm going to go ahead and move us over into the stretch portion today. So go ahead and hop up and find yourself some space. Moving our bodies is part of a good life too. So go ahead and start with your feet, about hip width apart. We're going to just take 3 big inhales. So take a big inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, release your hands. Let's do that 2 more times. Big inhale, reach up. And this time as you exhale, maybe fold forward just a little bit. And then let's do 1 more big breath. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, maybe fold forward just a little bit more. And then go ahead and stand all the way back up. Okay, we're going to start out with a little bit of upper body. So take arms out to the sides. We're going to roll the shoulders forward so your palms are moving back. And then just start to round through the upper back. And then reverse it. Lift your chest, roll your palms to the sky, thumbs moving back, maybe lift the chest a little bit, and let's repeat. Roll shoulders and arms first, then round through the back, then roll shoulders back and lift the chest. Roll shoulders forward, round through the back. Lift the chest, roll the hands and shoulders back, and let's do that 1 more time. Roll shoulders, round through the back. Lift the chest, and roll arms and shoulders back. All right, go ahead and release arms, shake it out just a little bit. Let's do a few reverse shoulder rolls. And then we're going to reverse direction, so go forward. All right, go ahead and take the arms up, interlace your fingers, and then take your hands behind your head. We're going to take the left foot and step it forward, and right foot's going to go back a little bit, so a short split stance. We're going to move into some upper thoracic mobility. So go ahead and turn to your left. Pause there for a second, and then add a little dip to the left elbow. And then lift back up and turn further, and then dip the elbow again, lift back up, and turn even further. Go ahead and come back to the center, and we're going to switch up the feet. It's really interesting when we add that dip, we can get more rotation in our spine. Okay, pushing your head back, go ahead and twist now to the right. Dip the elbow, lift back up, and twist further. Dip the elbow, lift back up, and twist further. Pause for just a breath. Come back to the center and then release your arms. Go ahead and just shake it out a little bit. Do some shoulder rolls again. We're going to move into a little bit of lower body. So go ahead and take your feet even wider. So nice wide stance. Toes can be just turned out a little bit, and we're just going to move side to side. Just saying hello to hips and inner thighs for a moment. Okay, go ahead, put both hands on each thigh and bend the knees a little bit. And then if it feels okay to you, just fold forward a little more and maybe put your elbows on each thigh for a little bit. From here, we're going to relax the head and neck and just hang the head and neck. Maybe shake your head yes and no a few times. Just let your neck relax. And then see if you can straighten your legs out a little bit. So feel in your hamstrings and then bend the knees again and then straighten the legs out again a little bit. Okay, lift the head part way. We're going to take one hand on each thigh again, and then shift your weight over to your right leg. Okay, take both hands to the right leg, and then see if you can just start to straighten out the right leg a bit more. And then bend it, and then straighten it out again, and then bend it. Then we're going to turn to the other side. So go ahead and switch sides. And then we'll do those straighten and bend, straighten and bend. And just notice if this side feels any different than the other side. Okay, last straighten here. Come back to the center. And then you can find your way all the way back up to standing. Let's take a big inhale, reach up. And then exhale, fold forward, hands come to your thighs again, but maybe this time you can release your arms as well, or you can go back to elbows. So elbows or arms release, and then let your head hang. And then maybe shift the hips a little bit side to side. And then use your hands to walk yourself all the way back up to standing. Go ahead and bring the feet back together a little bit. So about hip width apart, maybe just a little bit wider. We're going to do hands on hips and do some hip circles. So take hips to the left and then back and around to the right, come up to the center and then reverse direction. So we're just going to alternate these hip circle directions. Just noticing how hips and lower back feel here. And you can make the circles whatever size you want. They can be really big, they can be really small, depending on what your mobility is like. All right, let's do one more. And bring it back to the center. All right, take a big inhale, reach your arms up, grab the left wrist, and then pull over to the right. Pause there for just a moment. And if you would like, you can take your left foot and step it back behind the right and continue with that side stretch. Maybe pull the elbow back a little bit. And if you want, you can even look up at the sky. Let's uncross the legs, release the arms, and do it again. Other side. Reach up, grab the right wrist, pull up and over. Then you have that option of stepping the foot behind and maybe going a little further. You can pull the elbow back if you want, maybe look up at the sky. Take a big breath and then uncross the foot and release the arms. Okay, we're going to finish up with just a quick neck stretch. So just take hands by your sides, fingers activating, reaching towards the floor. We're just going to go ear to shoulder and ear to shoulder. And if you find one side that feels a little tighter, feel free to hold it there a little bit longer. One more big breath, and then release it. All right, you guys are all done. Thanks so much for joining today.